Hi, my name is Abraham Great and welcome to this platform. Here you will learn tips that will help you to connect the dots. These tips has the proclivity to move you into action. It is working. Let's go. I want to talk about the stark difference between President Joe Biden and President Donald Trump. Wow. The first thing I noticed is that the world, particularly the media, have become a lot quieter since President Joe Biden took office. We had 4 years of so much noise and so much things going on. And the difference between Donald Trump and President Joe Biden is made clear to us in large variety of issues. But one of them is the media noise, the media proliferation. Like you saw from the campaign until the very week, there was a series of events that happened in America, even around the world. I live in a country in England, where even for the President Trump to come to England, it was a big issue. It had to be discussed in Parliament. Many people do not want to see him. We've gone from that to a situation where it is easy for somebody to be the President of America and want to come to England. Now, those differences that we see between Joe Biden and President Donald Trump are around the issue of climate, the issue of taxes, the issue of trade, the race relationship, the national security, immigration, and above all, the handling of the coronavirus pandemic. The pandemic started in America. In America, Donald Trump was still the president in America at the time. And please note this. If you understand the concept of internationalization and globalization, you realize that the history have proven for generation after generation that people who are said to be patriotic or patriots are often antagonists of globalization. Globalization meaning people and goods and services moving from different parts of the world and people interchanging. And there is a huge difference between internationalization and globalization, because you may be international and not global, and you can be global without being international. What internationalization simply means your presence or your business is in multiple countries. So for example, before Coca-Cola became global, Coca-Cola was international. Now the real truth is that Coca-Cola was in many countries, but not in all countries, but enough countries to be international. But you can have today, Apple, I don't think still have office in most part of the world today. Apple may not even have an office yet in Nigeria or what have you. I don't think they do have. But Apple is global. Everybody uses Apple. So your product or service can become global without even being international. Internationalization can happen many later. I'll give you another example. McDonald's is international, but they're not global. There are countries where you get to, and unless people saw it on the movie, they don't know what McDonald's is. But you have McDonald's in many countries of the world, but most of those countries are developed countries in the world. Whereas music is global. You may have Beyonce, and Beyonce does not have office in South Africa. Maybe not, maybe she does, maybe for some other reasons. But Beyonce is all over the world. No matter the language you spoke or you speak, you see Beyonce. Everybody knows Beyonce. I give you another example. Jazz music. Nobody is singing anything, but no matter the creed, no matter the language, no matter where you are, that music is global. But also, the institution of the studio that made that music may not even be international at all. Now, these guys who fight against globalization hate the idea of migration, the idea of mass movement of people. And a lot of them hold their cards to their chest. This country is ours. This country is mine. Why are you coming for it? I have so much treasure in this country. This is my country. You should not come into my country. And for some reason, it appears that that was the side that President Donald Trump tilted towards the most. He will refer to things like America first, while America first to him does not only just mean the fact that he doesn't want immigration, it meaning that in terms of negotiation, in terms of dialogue, in terms of many things that happen around the world, he wants to put America at the first of the agenda, or he wants to think of America before start giving hate to other countries. In general, President Trump has governed as a Boston Republican icon. I won't even call him a Republican, to be honest. I think that President Trump ran on the platform of the Republican Party, but the truth is that he's hardly a Republican in himself. I just see he's not a Democrat, he's not a Republican, but he saw the place that he could actually have his idea and be embraced better, and that was with the Republican Party. I think if there was a third party that I could call in America, he's of the media party. What he has done all his life is media, business, everything that he has used the media as a tool. Although he came there and he seems to have been against the media, but the real truth is that you really never see him. He played both parties. He played the Democrat, he played the Republican. He tried to work with them, but he hardly ever was a proponent of consensus. I want this. Whatever he wants, he want to get it. And he realized that politics is more complex than that, that sometimes you can't just have your way. And that's true to both his relationship with other nations, where America First philosophy has tested the bonds beyond the US, and as long as even long-term allies were, in problem, there were domestic politics and where he consistently pushed boundaries of the executive authority, frequently finding himself reigned in, federal judiciary. Biden, on the other hand, contrasts nearly everything that Trump was agitating for. He has held on to a combination of largely progressive policies. His position is coupled with promise to return the country back to normalcy, where two parties can dialogue together again, where people can work with other nations. Now, at this point, let me say this. Trump came with an agenda, and his agenda was, look, I fought to win this election, promising people this, promising that we do that. Most of his ideas were not really founded on any policy. He has not been a policy maker, but don't forget, he's old enough. He's seen government. He knows people. He has relationship, and there are things that he has hated all his life. There are things that he has believed. I will still cover one of them, in a bit. There are many things. He just came there with his own personal agenda. I don't want this. I want the border closed. I want that happen, and to a large extent, he went on trying to deliver on the thing that he says that he will do. But Biden has kept his promise to return the nation to a more traditionally form of politics, one less focus on Twitter and mass rallies and on detailed, but one that is based on detailed policy making. So let me expatiate a bit on that. In that, the presidency of Trump was huge with Twitter, with social media, with media. It was almost like it's like someone waking up to go and fight another war. I could bet that President Trump would be on his bed or be on the dining table, and he will be thinking of what next. Look, if he hears anything said about him, he's waiting for it to hit back at whoever he's saying it. Now, as a leader, that is a bit questionable, because the entire world is counting on the President of America. Biden, on the other hand, has chosen to soften. In fact, when you look, I think President Trump had over 70 million follow us on Twitter. Up till now, the last I checked, I don't think that President Biden has even 15 million. And I know that, he's been taunted on this before, and he said clearly he wants to de-emphasize the need for his presidency to be a Twitter presidency based on Twitter. And everything that I want to do, he wants it to be more focused on detailed policies, debate, legislation, legislative deals, or making things happen in a more political way. On the issue of climate change, though he frequently say he wants all America to have clean water and clean air, President Trump, on the other hand, actually doubted climate change. He pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, and he has taken multiple stands, on several issues that will, including NATO, issues that brings correlation of countries together, because there was a concept. Here, remember, there was a concept of America being the greatest contributor on NATO, and President Trump he looks at the number and he thinks like, why would this have to be? Why would this have to be? And why would America be paying more? But there is always a cost that comes with being world power. But not just that, America actually gives the rest of the world a lot of gap in terms of the level of the power that America possesses over every other person. So it is almost like me building a house that is worth a lot more. That maybe an average house, let's assume that all the 200 and something countries, say we have 220 countries, let's assume that they are all an average cost of $50 million. I'm just using that because even one person is worth more than that. But America is almost like $750 million. So the difference between that is that the house that is worth more would need a lot more security, would need a lot more, security, electricity, insurance. It's costing America a lot more, and this concept is hard under President Donald Trump to understand, that the reason why America is paying more to NATO and to all this is not only because America is frivolous, it's also because America is paying for its fat, big brotherhood over the rest of the world. So, for example, if there was war in a place, the reason why America will intervene is foreign policy, which is more of what the Democrat Party always believes so much in the foreign policy, investing in other country. Let's go and stop the war in that place so that it will not affect us. Let's go and do this there so that it will not affect our ally. Let's go. So the concept sometimes may be difficult for someone who does not understand the principle of foreign policy, the principle of policy making. President Biden, on the other hand, proposed a $2 trillion plan to reduce the greenhouse gas emission and the key drivers for global warming. He contributed even more money to the Paris Agreement, reducing the carbon neutral by 2035, putting that money towards building new kind of vehicles that will be less pollutive in the environment. Regarding national security, Trump's approach to national security was focused on isolationism. He wants to isolate America from the rest of the world. They want the American military to be empowered, to just be great, withdraw them, from fighting. So he increased the defense spending while attempting to reduce the number of forces posted overseas. But in high conflict with the like of Afghanistan, with the like of Iran, with the lack of Iraq, and on the soil of US, even allies, American allies, he fought with like the like of South Korea, the like of Germany. It was frequently, his frequent claim that other members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization owes money to the US. They need to pay us back. You know, why are we doing this? Why is NATO taking advantage of us? But most of it is that he probably lacked the understanding of what these foreign policies means and why America has to pay this big price to be the big brother of the world. NATO members have shaken generation. They have held allies together. They have held countries together. NATO has intervened in many parts of the world, in Europe, in America. Let's remember even the treaty that brought NATO together. Let's remember what happened, during the Second World War. Let's remember what happened during the time of Hitler. Let's remember what happened, how Europe came calling on America. And when these bodies were put together, they were put together for the collective good of the entire earth. But America, being the biggest player, has the biggest price to pay. America is never wasting money. There's a reason why you are not world power for no reason. And if America wants to lose that place, China is waiting. What's it called? Russia is waiting. And if you want to give it to Saudi Arabia, is waiting. They will take the lead. They don't mind. They don't lack that money. They will spend a lot more money and they will take that leadership role. America leads the world. And any government or any president who leads America needs to be strong on foreign policy, need to understand that America runs the world. However, Biden is a more internationalist than Trump and is a strong supporter of the military or the judicial deployment of forces abroad. He believes in sending people to keep peace. Even where there is no war, he believes that we need to strategically position our army either to gather information or to look over certain territories, ally territories or neighboring territories that sustain our allies. Now, don't forget the relationship. One of the key parts of President Trump's presidency was the relationship he fostered with North Korea's president. Now, America had a treaty arrangement of security over South Korea. I mean, I've been privileged to travel to South Korea, and you see, no matter where you go in South Korea, you see the presence of the American soldiers on the train, on the bus, everywhere. America have been overseeing this country for over 50 years now. Because of the serious war that many lives were, one of the worst war that you saw around the world that happened. When that war, or the way that war came to an end, America is on a contract. It's almost like you are paying a security agent to come and look over your house. That's the relationship that exists between America and South Korea. So America has a very big and a huge military base in South Korea. They have a huge base. I can nearly say that out of every 20 people you see on the road in South Africa, in South Korea, you nearly see an American soldier somewhere looking around, or even without guns, they're just there. The presence is there. It's the way South Korea lives. And that has kept North Korea at bay, knowing that America is strategically positioned beside them and they cannot come to harass South Korea just anyhow. So this one-time chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee has a strong relationship with many leaders of around the world, and every American leader strategically choose leaders, either it is the foreign secretary or what have you, strategically sent. Now you will see this sometimes during election. It has happened in Nigeria. Not only in Nigeria, America will send its foreign ministers to go into dialogue with both opposition and sometimes the incumbent government. Sometimes America will send observers to observe. Sometimes America have been poisoned. People have abused America thinking that America installed that power and will install this power. Sometimes it's not as easy in deciding like that. It's not just that. America sometimes look at, okay, this country that is borrowing from us, this country that we're helping, this country that is always running back to us for loans, for help. Now they're going through election. Can we oversee, can we study, can we get some information to know what is good for this country? Okay, we realize that this is the best, that is the best. Okay, we're going to speak to both parties. Now in recent time, we see that America sometimes have gotten that wrong. And when America itself had foreign infiltration into its own election in 2016, allegedly, it is believed that Americans' reaction to intervention in other people's election now is carefully reviewed. So because America doesn't have that strong voice again to say, oh, you are having an election, we're coming to observe, because they themselves, they say, he that lives in glass house, don't throw stones. On technology development, President Trump's approach has focused on reducing government barriers to technology and innovation, reducing tax and eliminating regulation, and administrations believe in limit innovation. Under Trump, the amount of federal spending on tech has generally increased during his 4 years term. But IT notes that when the exception of certain technology, like the administration has reduced spending on tech research, for example, and development. Biden, on the other hand, indicated throughout the economic plan he supports significant increase in investment, particularly research and development and innovation. He wants to see more. He wants America to do more. He wants more innovation. He wants more things. Also, Biden favors a large government role in healthcare and physical infrastructure investment. Biden is very interested in Affordable Care Act, which they call the Obama Act. Biden is always interested, like the Democratic Party, they want to have a situation where there is health for all people. But unlike Trump, the Republican Party believes that the health industry should remain privatized. You may not understand, but particularly if you're watching me from America, most Americans still don't understand this. I live in England, and health is free for all. Now, Americans are always afraid because the politics is being told them that it's better for the health to remain privatized. Now, health is the biggest industry in America, and it is understood why this is always political. America will always be polarized, always. Look at in the case of England. I mean, it's not as big as the UK, but health is paramount for everybody. You do not need health insurance. And you actually have had the opportunity to have been part or to have received health in both UK and the US. Particularly, I had a child in America. In having a child in America, it cost me and my wife and I'm on a leg. I mean, almost $20,000 to give birth. In the UK, yes, because we live there. We wouldn't pay a dime, not even £1 at all. But not just that. I realized that yes, Americans are always so big about this thing about the health industry, but the kind of health that we receive in England is top class. And when you look at a country like Germany, Germany is a way ahead of even England in healthcare. I mean, they take you like a human being. They treat you well. You go through the rigor. Although there's a balance in Germany in terms of you still need some supportive insurance, health insurance, to what the government will normally provide freely. You need health insurance. But at least you get a lot more than what you get in America. It's a pity if you haven't got health insurance because it's almost difficult to have access to very good health. But during President Obama, a lot of that was corrected by bringing the Affordable Care Act, meaning that if you cannot afford, and it can be proven through your employment history and everything that you cannot afford health, you should still be able to have access to health. And Biden has been promoting that. So these and others, among so many other lines, are the difference between President Trump and President Biden. But let me say this very big one. That is a major difference between the two. One of them is a showman. It's a big showbiz person. He wakes up on a daily basis, does his hair, is ready to make the world either laugh or cry, or he's just a showman. But the other man, on the other hand, is a policy person. He's someone who is looking at the implementation of a bill, implementation of an act, something that is going to decide on, that we're going to work on, that is going to at large affect the rest of the country. Here are my differences between President Trump and President Joe Biden. My name is Abraham Great, and I am just connecting the dots.